right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Ask a Pro 479. We have founder and CEO of Glo Tanning, Oyni Odunukwe. So this guy, he owns, how many locations do you own at this point?
14.
So 14 tanning locations. The first time I seen a Glo Tanning in Fort Smith, it's probably about a year ago. When did you start that one? Right on Rogers Avenue?
2 years ago.
So it's been about 2 years. It's been about a year since I've really taken notice to it, but it's completely blown up, taking over the city, and actually taking over several states as well. So he's in Arkansas, Oklahoma, started one or two in Ohio. So he's taken over, and he's taken over fast. So we wanted to sit down and talk with him and just see how the heck did he make all this stuff happen as a 32-year-old in Arkansas. How did he create all this? Create all these businesses and all these opportunities for employment for people in our city as well. So tell us a little bit about your background and how'd you get into the tanning business?
So I moved to Arkansas for college. I went to the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville. When I started my senior year of college, I had an opportunity to buy a supplement store called Mr. O's Nutrition. It was Max Muscle. The lady wanted to get out, so I didn't have any money, so I convinced her to basically owner's finance to me, and I'd pay her back as I go. I changed to Mr. O's Nutrition because I couldn't afford the franchise fees, and from there, just decided that I wanted to add on something else. When I was going to move locations, and it was a bigger space than what I needed for supplement stores, so I was trying to decide whether or not I was going to do a fitness studio or what I was going to do, and I just randomly decided, tanning and fitness kind of go together.
Yeah.
And took off with the tanning. Eventually, sold the supplement store and expanded the tanning, and just been doing that ever since.
That's pretty cool, man. So what is the fitness background? So you start off with a supplement store. I mean, you a big dude, but
yeah, I used to be a bodybuilder. I was Mr. Arkansas 2015 and 16.
Okay. So the dedication, the discipline. I know you talked about a little bit of his background, even go farther than that. I mean, his parents are very well established entrepreneurs and, very educated. So I see that's where it kind of spawned from. But you being in bodybuilding, I know what kind of dedication that takes to, be in those competitions. That Mr. Arkansas, that's pretty big time.
Yeah, it was a lot of work, and kind of honestly got burnt out. Just eating 6 meals a day, and the gym every single day, sometimes twice a day, and doing that. But it was a good ride.
Yeah. So did you do that right out of college, or were you still
I was
in college?
I was doing it in college all the way till I retired 2016.
So when you were you bought the supplement store in college. I mean, you probably you're
21.
You were 21. And you
Yeah.
bought your first business.
Mm.
Like what made you while you're in college? When you're in college, you're supposed to be focused on education, not like building a business and building wealth. Like
yeah, I mean it's the fun thing about owning your own business is you get to create your own path. So obviously at the beginning you get paid last. So you have this the struggles of trying to scrounge the payroll or trying to figure everything out. But when you do it, the younger that you are when you do it, you don't have anything anyway, so you're not really risking anything by doing it.
So that's a different perspective than the average college student. Even me, like when I was in college, I was selling cell phone cases, outer box cases. This dude was buying an entire supplement store and selling. You got to worry about inventory, like he was talking about payroll. And what a lot of people don't understand when you're running your own business, he may have been paying some people more than he was actually taking home. I mean, quite honestly. So to have that mindset at 21 is pretty crazy. So from 21 years old, I mean, when did you officially start Glo Tanning? Because this is a franchise, but this is something that you started. Like you're the owner, you're the founder of Glo Tanning.
Yes.
When
I started at 22.
22.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So you've been in the tanning business for a decade. So as a 32-year-old man, you can honestly say like I've been in the business for like over a decade at this point. Like how does that? You're like a vet in the game at this point.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. I mean, that's people's first question is how'd you get into tanning, and then people kind of take interest in it, and the reason why we have so many people even interested in say the licensing or the franchising is because I'm the only black person that owns a tanning salon in America. So, sole owner of a tanning salon in America. So, when people see like the success of the salons, and for a lot of people, they're just like, hey, if, this random black guy in the South can be successful doing it, then obviously, I can too, and I just want to know what the secrets are, the system, or whatever it is that you're using. So that actually is a benefit for us.
Yeah, that's crazy. So to my knowledge, I'm the first black principal broker in Fort Smith. But for somebody to be the only sole owner, I'm sure what he's saying is there may be other people with franchise for someone else. He's the only sole owner of a tanning franchise in the entire United States, which is an outstanding accomplishment. I mean, you inspire people like me, and I'm sure you're gonna inspire a lot of other people. But like having that kind of weight on your shoulders, did that kind of weigh you down, or is that the reason why you continue to go?
No, I mean, I just, I always like to set goals and just try to achieve them. And one thing that I'm trying to learn how to do is the art of really contentment. Is like, being satisfied when you do achieve a goal or you get to a certain place. Part of what makes a lot of people successful is that we're always striving to do something, but once you achieve that goal, you're not ever actually fulfilled. You always, then you're kind of lost and you have to set another goal and you just keep going, like that. So just kind of trying to just continue to, set goals, achieve them, and actually be satisfied when I do achieve a goal.
So I mean, that's a good point. So I found that out for myself as well. Like, cause you're at 32, you have 14 locations. I'm sure financially, you literally don't have to do this anymore. You do not have to continue to scale a tanning business. Why do you continue to scale it? Like, what's the point?
So I mean, at a certain point, you do it for money. At a certain point, and that's like your goal. And then at a certain point, I got to a point where I just stopped, really caring. Like, I did all the nice things, bought the house, the Ferrari, the Bentley, and all that type of stuff. And then at a certain point, I was just like, man, I don't even like all that. What people, what I wear, what I drive, or stuff like that doesn't define me, or doesn't even matter to me anymore.
Yeah.
So I no longer do it for the money. I just do it because I actually enjoy doing it. I would do it for free. So I just enjoy doing what I do, and that's really it. So I don't even, money's just like an end goal, like an end result of like the work, but it's not why I do what I do.
Yeah. So you need the money, but that's not the reason you do it. It's just
Yeah.
the passion of business, passion of setting a goal and achieving it. It's probably more than anything else. Because when you're doing, I mean, that probably goes all the way back to your competition days. Like once you're Mr. Arkansas, well now what? I've done that.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
at some point you have to just set those goals, and you have to be goal oriented. It can't be about money, because once you get things, I mean, I don't know if you guys see the watch. Like he has things now. Like doing it for money, that's just not going to fulfill him. So achieving those goals, it sounds like he wants to inspire people, and that's why he's even sitting down with me today, which I really appreciate, because he's actually doing building another location at the bottom of Phoenix Hills here, which is pretty awesome. But he also is a general contractor. I've done a little bit of general contracting with apartments, and it just weighs down on you. People trying to cut corners, and it's a full-time job on top of running these locations and continue to expand. Like, what kind of struggles have you seen? Not just specifically being a general contractor, but just business in general. What kind of challenges have you seen that you've had to overcome?
Challenges business-wise. I mean, for every person that owns a business, they know this is really just staffing.
Yeah.
If you want to scale, you can no longer micromanage and do everything yourself. You have to staff and trust people to do their job, and that's really the hardest part, because no one cares about your stuff the way you care about your stuff. So that's one thing. And then when it comes to GCing and stuff like that, part of it is part of the reason why I decided to GC myself is cost control, and then also making sure, and quality control. I this year, because I've probably built about 20 of them, and I've sold a bunch. So this year, this last 365, I've built 12, and part of it is I have the people that I trust. Their prices are fair, and they just we enjoy working together. They want to continue to do work for me because they know I always have work for them, and contractors and subcontractors, they really appreciate consistency because their business is very inconsistent.
Yeah.
So they understand what I want and the quality that I want. So if they don't do that, then they basically won't ever get a job from me again.
Just make it very simple.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm gonna take in my business as well. Just understanding, because you understand from other people's point of view.
Yeah.
Like the inconsistency of their work may cause them to cut corners with you. So if you give them consistency and take that kind of that guesswork out of it, they're more willing to be loyal and give you the work that you're looking to get.
100%. And then also for them, the biggest thing with them is referrals.
Yeah.
So a lot of people reach out to me and say, hey, who can I contact for this? And I always, basically, not only will I give you constant work, but I can give you 3 times the amount of work in referrals. And if your quality is good, I'm not going to ever refer somebody who I don't trust in the work that they're doing. So,
For sure.
They want to make sure that their quality is always, top bar.
Yeah, for sure. So you talked a little bit about delegation. This is kind of a selfish question for me because I have trouble with it. Some people may know my wife works with me in my business, and even delegating stuff to her sometimes like, man, it's frightening. Like, how do you get the confidence to delegate to people, and like what kind of team do you have around you to make all this stuff happen?
So I have a corporate staff. I have a 11,000 square foot corporate center in Oklahoma City. I just got back a couple days ago, and we just have a really, really, really good team. And really, honestly, I micromanage until I can trust that you can do the job by yourself. So, really, in terms of delegating, it's just training them on what you want them to do, how you want them to do it, and once they know that, then just leave them and let them do their job. If they have any questions, you can reach out and ask me any questions you have. But once I've shown you one time, I don't need to tell you again. And if you show somebody how to do something and they do it another way, then that person's just not the right person for the job. So, but if you don't show them, that you haven't given them the tools that they need to be successful. So therefore, you're holding yourself back, hindering yourself from being able to delegate and actually scale and just be more successful. Because for you to be successful, you have to duplicate yourself. So for me, I have HR, inventory, this and that. In terms of for those people, I just micromanage them at the beginning, show them exactly how I want things done, and just let them do their job after that, and that's it.
Yeah, it sounds so simple, but it's very, very difficult, and I'm sure it took you a long time to get to that point to be able to do that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it does, but at a certain, once you get to a certain level employment wise, you can't physically do all the work yourself. So you're really just forced to do it. And another thing you want to do is you just want to make sure that you basically, while you are teaching this person the process, you are setting up a training that's in place for whenever that person leaves, they can easily be replaced and trained. I mean, you don't have to dive back in and spend another month, training another person. As you're training that person, you're putting things down on paper that, basically outlines it. So either if that person leaves the right way, they can train their replacement, or if not, you can easily train the replacement and you make sure that you're not missing any gaps in the training.
Yeah. So systems and processes, that's what he's talking about for those who are aspiring to be in business. It doesn't matter what business you're in. I'm a real estate investor, real estate broker, same thing. If you have systems and processes, you can duplicate that anywhere. So that's why he's able to go into so many markets, and why he's going to go as far as he wants to go, is because he's talking about systems and processes. He can take a simple process, a simple system, and implement it somewhere. He's just duplicating it over and over. And I'm sure until he has diminishing returns to where it doesn't make sense for him to continue to scale, or if somebody wants to buy all of his tanning salons out for an astronomical price, I'm sure he's just going to continue to go and take over. So, I mean, where do you see things going? I mean, honestly.
For me in general.
Yeah. What are the crazy goals that you probably haven't even, because I have some goals that I haven't even said out loud, because if I say it, I'm like.
Yeah. So I think I normally do like 1 and 3 year goals and plans.
Mm-hmm.
So the 1 year plan that I made that I'm just now finishing up on was to take over the Oklahoma City market and take over the Fort Smith market and finally bought out 3 salons in Fort Smith in the last 365. Um, so we only have one other salon in town that's still in business, and 2 years ago there were 8 competitors. So, and then in Oklahoma City, um, literally have 11 locations in Oklahoma City. So we're in every part of the OKC metro. So both of those goals are pretty much achieved. So now the next goal is to basically set ourselves up into a good situation where operationally to where we can go and take over the rest of the state, in particular Tulsa, Lawton, Stillwater, but want to make sure that the operation is where it needs to be so that when we're scaling, so we have an operation that's built for 5,000 salons, not an operation that's built for 15 salons, and then we try to expand to, 50 salons. So a really good book for any person to read is called The E-Myth. And it basically says that no matter if you have one business or you have 5,000, every single business should be built as if you're going to have 5,000. So the systems and operations should be for if you were going to scale to 5,000, which makes everything a lot, makes everything flow a lot better.
Yeah. That's a bomb right there, y'all. He gave y'all a simple book that y'all can read, and a lot of people watching this, they think that being a successful entrepreneur is so difficult. It's really just a discipline to just set a plan and actually follow it. So he read a very, very simple book. It's probably the most famous entrepreneurial book ever. I forget how many books they've sold or how many copies they've sold. Just follow it. I mean, just set a plan, and he set the infrastructure to take over America, not just to take over one city, but to take over America. One question that I did have specifically about the tanning salon business, how do you relate, because I'm sure majority of your employees are female,
Mm-hmm.
how do you relate? I mean, like, I don't know how to act other way.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, majority are white females.
Like, how do you even...
I mean, it's just, I mean, actually, that's
It's a loaded question.
Yeah. I mean, so really it's more, I believe in meeting people where they're at. So, basically I try to figure out, hey, what is your goal when you're here, whether it's, you're just working because you're in college and you just need a college job. Okay, well, let's set you up and give you the tools and things that you need for the career that you're looking for, or whether or not it's, hey, I want to make this a career and I want to work in corporate or I want to work in upper management. So it's essentially, to me, it's more just kind of like relating to them on like, hey, let me help you achieve the goal that you're looking for within the company or even outside the company. And then two, just relating to them just on a human level, just like, how's the family, getting to, just know them as individuals. And for the most part, it's actually worked out really well.
Yeah, because the thing that I was always worried, I was like kind of confused about, because it's really an entry level position. I mean, you work in a retail store, you do have product that you can sell, you have subscriptions, and I actually bought it for my wife because I wanted to be able to just kind of understand your business a little bit, and you have great systems, but these are all entry level positions, and I was like, man, how does he even like relate to these people? But you just meet them where they are.
Yeah, so
and like a human.
Yeah, and honestly, when it comes to like the entry level, so you have the entry level position, then you have management. The entry level position, I mean, those people are replaceable. They come and go, and we do care about them because we care about all of our employees. But they come and go, so really, it's more just me being able to relate to the upper management and the people that are training the entry level people, the people that are basically making sure that the environment is stable for those people and for when they leave. So for me, I try to minimize contact with the entry level people in general, and basically the people that I'm really focused on are the leaders of the company and the stores. And that's really it.
Well, goes back to delegation. Just took that off your plate, having to relate so much to that
the individual employee that is just working 20 hours a week. I mean, there's no real need for me to have too much contact with them.
Yeah. So as a black man, and like you said, doing some of the record breaking things that you're doing. What challenges have you seen as a black man in business in Arkansas? I know a lot of people are gonna say, "What's the difference?" Well, there is a difference because there's not a lot of people who look like him in his specific space. So, have you seen any challenges on that level in business?
Yeah, I mean for sure. So yeah, there has been.
To say the least, right?
Yeah. So like up until probably up until I came to Fort Smith, every single time I decided that I was going to do a location or whatever, I would have to basically have a white man basically co-sign for me, not co-sign on paper, but co-sign for me verbally, and say, oh yeah, this is a really good guy. He's been doing X, Y, and Z. Um, so they basically, when I was opening locations in Northwest Arkansas and stuff like that, they just, you're going to these big, huge companies that are, are nationwide or based in Little Rock or whatever, and coming and saying, hey, I would like to do X, Y, and Z, and, you're 23 and 24, 25. They, they want to make sure that
you're credible.
Yeah, that you're credible.
Yeah.
By the time I came to Fort Smith, I already had 5 salons at the time, and I was, we were, known in Northwest Arkansas, so they already knew who I was. They already knew the business, and it was a pretty easy, whatever, because it's now established.
Yeah.
So ever since then, I haven't really had to do that, but at the beginning, it was pretty difficult.
So was it with the cities, like getting approvals? Because what he's doing a lot of times is he's buying out an existing salon, and his salons are very high end. He's got chandeliers. I mean, he's got the nice, very nice fixtures in his establishments. Or you having issues with getting permits? Were you having issues with contractors? Like what?
Well, I've had issues with landlords. Just
okay.
even getting the space in the first place.
Okay. Because you're not buying these locations. You're leasing them most of the time.
Leasing the locations. So we can, normally we like to put like a first right of refusal. So, if they want to sell the location, then we have a right to buy it and stuff like that. But, you don't know if the location's actually gonna pan out.
Yeah.
Out of the 20 locations I've ever opened, only one location has not panned out. So, but still, if you don't know it's gonna pan out, you don't want to spend, $1 or $2 million buying a building, and then be stuck with it. So with the landlords, in Fayetteville, actually, it was Fayetteville, Northwest Arkansas. It's actually really easy. The permitting process, all those guys up there, since I've bought and built so many salons, they all know me. That was super easy. The landlords were the problem. In Fort Smith, the landlords were fine. It was the permitting process that was the problem in Fort Smith. They make it really, really difficult to do business in Fort Smith. Which is very surprising because I figured that, with the amount of reinvestment that they want in the city, that they should.
What needs to go into the city.
That needs to go in the city, that they would make it easier. But it was actually, Fort Smith was the most difficult stores that I've ever opened.
Yeah, and I've been a part of, $1 million apartment renovations here as well. And guys from out of the state, Nashville, Dallas, and different places, and they say the same thing. They're like, man, the way that this city needs the redevelopment, why is it so hard to get a plumbing permit, or why is it so hard to get?
It says because of the unions. I don't know. I mean, I'm a supporter of the unions and stuff like that, but at the same time, they just make things really, really, really difficult. To get anything done, permitting wise, and which really makes it to where when somebody is doing a project, I typically just try to avoid the permitting process in general. If I'm buying an existing salon and remodeling or something like that, I try to just avoid pulling any type of permits because they make it way more difficult to follow the normal process than it would be for you to just go ahead and do what you need to get done and then get the inspection after.
Yeah, I had to learn it the hard way as well. So, I guess you're doing a lot of very cool things. You dropped a lot of knowledge on the audience. So I guess I didn't really get an answer. Like, where do you see things going, like long term? Because I'll just, for selfishly for me, it's like somebody who's already successful at 32. you got to have some pretty big goals, or else it just really doesn't make sense to continue to do anything.
Yeah. So I mean, but you know, when it comes to it depends on what your driver is. If your driver is money, then you know that could be true. But if you just do it just because you love doing it, and like I said, I would do it for free, then it's just one of those things where, you know, it doesn't matter. Like when I sold a bunch of stores in Northwest Arkansas last year, and I could have, it was enough money for me to honestly retire, and I could live off of the interest. And you know, I thought about doing other things, and I ended up just going back to doing the same exact thing because of the fact that I just love what I do. But ultimate goal, I guess I haven't really set. I mean, a personal goal. I want to have a private jet. That's a personal goal. You know, my wife thinks I'm crazy for saying that.
Which one?
But
Say it on camera so we can hold you accountable to it.
That's a personal goal, but besides that, or a financial goal, because you obviously have to be, you know, in a certain place financially to be able to do that. But besides that, business wise, you know, I try not to make too many like grand. So honestly, some of my short term goals are grand, but too many like super grand goals. I try to make like a nice 1 or 3 year goal that is somewhat realistic, but also grand at the same time, and then just try to go after that. And that's really it. So I mean, a 3 year goal is to buy out my biggest competitor, which is actually bigger than we are. So that's my 3 year goal right now.
Yeah. So some people may say, yeah, that's well buying out my competitor, but I mean the dude owns 14 locations. If he's buying out somebody who's larger than he is, he's got to be pretty liquid to go do that and be, you know, in a place financially, and his business. He has to have that infrastructure, like he said, to go out and buy somebody who maybe he says bigger than him. So at least, you know, basically double his business within the next 3 years, maybe triple it. So that's big time, man. I'm rooting for you. I like watching from afar. If somebody was looking to get in contact with you, how can they get in contact with you?
Contact on Facebook, or also through Instagram, Mr._Arkansas. So, you know, or you can email me at onyi@glotanning.com.
Okay. Awesome, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on the show.
Appreciate you.
So, you guys, I appreciate you tuning in to another episode. I think this was probably my favorite episode so far. Just seeing somebody who's doing, you know, great things, looks like me, which I've never seen enforcing of me personally. So it was awesome having you on the show, man. Catch you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in.